All right, everybody. Welcome to the Creative Finance Collective. Thank you for joining us. We're here to talk about creative finance. And with us, we have myself, Sean St. Clair, and Scott Horne in Texas. If you have questions about creative financing, we're here to talk about those and answer those questions. So make sure you engage with us there. Um, while we're waiting for people to join the program here, you'll note a barcode at the top of the screen. Scan that. That'll take you to our YouTube channel if you're watching from some other platform. That'll allow you to get there, subscribe, and like. We'd appreciate it. Um, so while we wait for some people to join, Sean, I haven't talked with you about this, but I'm curious on your take. It's not creative finance related, but I think the Yankees might get swept. And baseball was, I think this was like Major League Baseball's dream scenario to have a Yankees Dodgers World Series. It wasn't, the only ones that liked the World Series last year were the Rangers fans in Texas and Diamondbacks fans in Arizona. But this was supposed to be the event in baseball, and so far the Yankees have just not been bringing it. Or maybe the Dodgers have just been that good. What are your thoughts on it? You're muted. Now you're unmuted. I got you.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Yankees had a good run through the playoffs, but I don't know that a lot of people predicted them when they entered the playoffs to actually, get to the World Series. I think you know, the thought out there was they had a little bit of a flawed team, and I think those flaws are being exposed by the Dodgers. But we'll see. If the Yankees can win two here and send it to LA, 3-2, things get a little bit more interesting. But we'll see.
Well, I thought that, by the way, if you're just now joining us, we're waiting for viewers to join. We're taking creative finance questions. If you have a creative finance question, post it in the chat and we'll get to those. We're kind of just small talking sports while we wait for people to join. I thought in game one, which is pretty exciting game given how it ended. I thought, man, extra innings. We're going to get 7 games out of this. This is going to be Major League Baseball's dream. And after that grand slam in game one, it's just been a Dodgers show from there on out. I haven't even looked back, but I don't even know if this makes it past another game.
Is that tonight?
I it might
I
be
think it
tonight.
is.
I think it is
Yeah, I
tonight.
think it
Yeah.
is tonight. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty exciting to watch. If you're just not joining us, this is the Creative Finance Collective. Make sure to post your questions in the chat. We're only here as long as we're getting questions. So it's important for you guys to put those in there. Scott, can you hear us over there in Texas? Looks like you might be on your phone. Looks like he's having connection issues. What's the latest with you in creative finance, Sean? You staying busy with it? You seeing a dip? I noticed, by the way, we talk about mortgage rates. Mortgage rates are back. The average 30-year fixed mortgage rates back up over 7%. Uh,
Wow.
it's really climbed in the last couple weeks. So things aren't getting cheaper.
Yeah, no, things aren't getting cheaper. You know what I've seen, and I'd be curious Scott's take on it. Man, it seems like for creative finance purposes, that all of the low interest rate loans where sellers are, you know, willing to do a subject to, it's kind of like the market was flooded for a while, and a bunch of investors and subject to folks were able to pick up these properties for 3% and 4% and that type of thing. But I think almost that wave to me seems a little bit to be over. Now the more creative finance stuff I'm seeing are the newer mortgages where, and we interviewed Scott Potter, not Scott, Matthew Potter.
Oh, yeah.
We interviewed Matthew Potter a few months back on short sales. So it seems now where people are like, well, I'm not going to do a short sale, but I could do it subject to. But these loans are like 6 or 7%.
Yeah.
And the value of the property is not, really there. But because people aren't having to put the money in and can own a house, they're all of a sudden saying, "Oh, okay, let's make a run at this and see if we can make it work." VRBO, midterm rental, which gives you more rent. Maybe do what they call a pad split, where they have roommates, or they split the house up, because it's not going to cash flow as just a standard, ordinary, long-term rental. I think the pad split thing's good. I'm not sure about the VRBO or even midterm rental stuff much anymore, because it just seems like, especially the VRBO market, I think it's not as strong as it used to be. I think it's once again oversaturated. But in any event, that's what I'm seeing more of, is the high interest rate loans being acquired subject to. So,
well, why do you think? Why is that? Do you think it's getting harder and harder to find the low interest, the low? I mean, there's still a lot of them out there.
yeah, but those are, the ones that are out there, people who, are in good positions financially and don't really, they would rather just rent their house, or they don't plan to move, or they're going to remodel and keep the loan in place. And there's only a finite number of those loans.
Yeah.
And so with all what I would call the subject to craze, and people going and pursuing those loans in particular, I think it's kind of the people that are going to want to do subject to, or willing to do subject to as sellers, they've all done it for those low interest rate loans. And now you're seeing a lot more subject to on the higher interest rate loans. I'll be curious to see how that pans out, because that's still 6 or 7%, still a pretty high payment. If people bought in 2022 in certain areas of Metro Phoenix, for example, the further out areas, those, according to Matthew Potter, those are upside down at this point. So we'll see.
Yeah, legally speaking, it's a little bit more difficult to do sub 2 on a short sale, right? I mean, I guess it depends on
what really do it.
Yeah, I guess it depends.
The bank wants their loan paid off, and they're going to take a reduced payoff. So you can't really. You could maybe wholesale a sub 2, not a sub 2, a short sale, using an option agreement, but that's a whole different ball of wax.
Yeah, interesting. This is the Creative Finance Collective. If you're just now joining us, we're talking about creative finance and taking questions. We'll be on here for a few minutes waiting to see if we get questions. If you've got them, make sure to post them in the chat, and we'll get to them. So with the investor space that you're seeing in the higher interest rate stuff, or relatively higher, given that, before we were talking about 3 and 4% mortgages, now we're talking about 6% mortgages. Are investors just banking on real estate prices going up forever? It seems like there's a big difference in affordability from 3 to 6%, I think.
Yeah, I think there's some tax advantages. Chasing the depreciation is a big thing, where even if the property's a little bit upside down, the short-term tax benefits outweigh that.
Yeah.
So it may make sense, but yeah, in any event.
Very interesting. All right. Well, we got Scott on a call. I don't know if he's at what point he'll be off and ready to join us, but we don't have any questions. Anything else you're seeing out there?
No, not really. Nothing novel or exciting.
I think there's kind of a malaise. Well, I was talking with Scott about this before we came on. a little bit of a, I asked him if he thought there was a lot of money sitting on the sidelines right now waiting for next Tuesday to, happen and finalize itself. And I think there's a real sense to this. This is super anecdotal. It has nothing to do with real estate, but I was talking to a windshield replacement company. When you break your windshield, they come in and replace it. They said they're dead right now. And I said, "Oh, that's interesting. Are you usually dead this time of year?" They said, "No, we're slammed this time of year." And I said, "Well, what do you think?" And they said, we looked back. They said 4 years ago, week to 2 weeks before election, we were dead. And I was like, wow, that's really, I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but if the sentiment is that you don't even want to deal with a windshield replacement in the 2 weeks leading up to election, that just shows you what kind of attention that commands of the public, and what kind of money could just be sitting on the sideline waiting to act when this is passed.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So
yeah, it could be that, the markets love certainty, investors love certainty. And I think people are just like, I'm gonna hold my money. I'm not gonna, buy anything. I'm not gonna make any big purchases until I know what I'm dealing with.
right. Yeah. Well, I'd say for the viewers, they had their chance. We haven't received any questions. So with that, why don't we cut it and join us next Tuesday? Man, that'll be election day. Maybe we'll have a lot more to go through at that point. But make sure everybody to join us every Tuesday at 10 a.m. for the In-Rem podcast, and then have your questions ready for the Creative Finance Collective every Tuesday at 2 p.m.
Sounds good.
Thanks for joining us, Sean. We'll talk to you.
All right. Yep.